Hello, backpackers. This is Juan from Juan Backpacks, and I'm here to tell you about my new gear for 2024. This is the new stuff I'm bringing into my kit. I got to be honest with you, not a lot of huge changes. At the end are two kind of bigger ticket items that I'm bringing in. So I am bringing some big ticket items in. If you want to see those, you're going to have to fast forward. But I've got some really interesting small items to start with, and then I'm going to build from there. Okay, build from there. These are things that I really wanted to bring into my kit. A lot of them aren't huge changes, but they're adjustments to things. But I think they're going to help me be more efficient on the trail. And some of these things are actually for off trail to take care of gear and things off trail. So let's take a look at the first really small item here, and that is a lighter. What is this? Well, I'm getting tired of looking through my mini Bics and shaking them and try to figure out if they have fuel in them or not. I saw this on the Almonds Right website. It's a backpacking website. They make backpacks and all kinds of things, and they sell these clipper, rechargeable, refillable lighters. And guess what? They only weigh 0.4 ounces. That's just like 0.1 ounce heavier than a mini Bic. Okay, so 0.1 ounces, and you can get a rechargeable lighter. And that way, every time I go on a trip, all I have to do, recharge my lighter. Just remember to do that. Throw it in my cook kit, and I'm good to go. I don't have to guess. I don't have to have 5 different, mini Bics laying around and different, levels of fuel in them. I got one lighter, and I'm ready to go. I actually bought 4 of these because I bought some for people for Christmas too. The other thing that I'm bringing back into my kit, after 2 years ago when I threw it out of my kit, I made a video about it, is the Platypus Quick Draw. Why am I bringing it back in? Well, I'm going to go on a trip where I really want something that's going to be reliably back flushed in the field, and I know the Platypus will do that. I was a little disappointed in some of the things that seemed to be breaking down on it. There were more like cosmetic things and the threads and so forth. But I'm going to give it another shot, bring it back to my kit, and I'm going to use it with the Ceanoc Vecto water bag. This is the 2-liter. I'm taking a little bit of a weight hit on this because I'm using the X version of the bag. That's actually the one that's a little bit thicker. And I'm also going to take an overall weight hit over my Be Free that I use now with the 1-liter bag. Of course, I'm going with a 2-liter bag. But I'm going to take a little bit of weight hit on the filter itself and on the bag. And let's take a look what my total weight will be with my water filtration now. It's going to be 5.9 ounces, so almost 6 ounces for water filtration. Whew. That's a lot for me, but I think it's going to be worth it given some of the trips that I'm going to be doing this year, and I'll be talking about that in a different video, so watch out for that. Now, some smaller items. Oh, man, look at that. Katadyn Optimus Crux Light Stove. My son has one of these, and I've been envious of it. I use the Pocket Rocket 2, which I love. I love the Pocket Rocket 2. One of the reasons I switched to this, though, is that the pot gripping on top, the arms seem to hold the pots more securely. And I do not want my food all over the ground when I'm hungry from hiking. And then also, it just seems to have a better adjustment, and it's quieter. I'm only going to take a slight weight hit. I think my my Pocket Rocket 2 weighs 2.5 ounces, and this is coming in at 2.6 ounces. I'm also going to take a little bit of hit on form factor. It's a little bit harder to fit in my pot with my small canister that I usually have in there in my 750 milliliter pot, but I can make it work, and it works. So I'm going to try this out, and I'll let you know how it goes. I'll give it a review at the end of the year. The other thing that I have in my kit is something actually I've been wanting for a while, and it's small, and this is on the home side of things, a Crunch It. The Crunch It's made so that you can take those fuel cans that are empty and go ahead and dispose of them more safely. This one has a little bit of fuel, so I'm not going to do it. You screw this into the end, and then there's a lever here, and there's a punch right there. There's a metal punch, almost like a can opener. You basically leverage that down to punch a hole in the canister. Obviously, you want to make sure the canister is empty. I would probably burn off the fuel using my stove or something like that if it was really super close to being empty. And it does vent too. It'll vent it a little bit. but I wouldn't want to put this on there with too much fuel left in it. So I would probably burn it off myself and then go ahead and use the Crunch It on there. And it's just a way to make sure that you do not have any fuel left, residual fuel in your canister, and that, you know, somebody's not going to get injured if you try to dispose of it, you know, in the trash or something like that. So I think there's a way to recycle these though, but I have a bunch of them around the house and I can get rid of them. So anyway, the Crunch It. The other item that I have is related to fuel canisters as well, and that's a flip fuel. It's a way to move fuel from, say, a big can that has some fuel in it to a smaller can that needs fuel. I actually filled this one up. It's completely full, and I did that by transferring this just yesterday. All you do is you put the one you want to fill up in the freezer for 5 minutes or more. I would read the directions. Don't rely on me to have read them properly, because sometimes I don't. So I put this in the freezer, because this is the one I wanted to fill up. This one is supposed to sit out in the sun. What I did is ran hot water over it because the sun wasn't out that day. And this, I guess, needs to be warmed up a little bit. That's how I did it, because it's safe. Just run hot water over it, right, to warm up. And then all you do is you screw this in. I'll say there's some words there. It says in. So if you want to go in, you screw this in. And then the top one is the one you want to take fuel out of, or push fuel into that bottom one. And then you screw this on there. Then there's a lever where you turn it and you open up the valve. And you can literally hear the fuel transferring in there. And you can hear when it stops. And then you just shut it down and unscrew the cans. And you got a fuel canister, just like I did there, or a full canister. I like that because it'll allow me to dump fuel into this canister, the smaller canisters I have laying around from other camping trips, car camping trips, the bigger fuel cans like this. Also, maybe at a weight penalty of 1.2 ounces, that's all it weighs, 1.2 ounces. You can maybe take this on a long through hike and use it in town. If you run into a hiker box that has a lot of bigger canisters and you want to keep your small canister, you can transfer some fuel into your smaller canister, you know, in town. So it might not be a bad thing for you through hikers too, doing the long through hikes. So anyway, that's the flip fuel. Glad I got it, finally got it. Been eyeballing it for like a year or two, and now I'm using it for sure. The last two items are pretty big items, bigger ticket items. One of them is the Defi by Motorola. I have an InReach Mini I've used for the last 5 years. I use it for mapping. I use it for SOS. I use it for messaging back and forth, text messaging, and also for tracking, you know, for my family members so they can track me on a map that I give them access to. So this will do messaging, SOS, and it'll do pins that you can send individually once in a while, but it doesn't do like overall tracking, at least not yet. I hear they might be doing that in the future. The thing about the Motorola is it is using a different satellite system, so that has me a little bit leery, but I will tell you, I tested it at home. It picked up the satellite from inside the house and was able to send a message. That's something that my InReach Mini has not been able to do. So the messaging is really good. So I'm going to use this year on all my backpacking trips. I'm going to leave the InReach Mini at home. So I have SOS messaging, and I'll be able to send a pin to somebody, you know, at the end of the day when I'm in camp, stuff like that. The thing about the Motorola is this: if you can give up the mapping, and the way I look at it, there are a lot of maps out there, mapping software, mapping apps, I mean, for your phone. And so you're going to have to use phone for messaging anyway. But there's a lot of mapping apps out there, so I can rely on those. But this does messaging and it does SOS, which is primarily what I want those units for. I like it because you can send messages to somebody on the other side and they can message you back. The finicky thing about this is I not only have to have the app to be able to send messages through my phone, through this, and then through the satellite to the person on the other side, they have to have the app as well. The cool thing is, and you can warn family members and friends about this, they will get their first message they'll get that says, hey, so-and-so is trying to send you a message, here's a link to download the app. And so, or you can have them download the app ahead of time. And I tried this with a couple family members and it worked great. They just had to download the app on their phone and then we were off and running with the messaging. The plans for these are really super cheap. The plan I'm using right now, I think it has like 30 messages a month on it, back and forth, SOS, and it's like $5 a month, and that's it, $5 a month. Whereas, you know, anybody that owns an InReach Mini knows that you're paying more than $5 a month. Now, more features, right? More features. So I'm not saying anything about that, but I don't know that I need the mapping anymore from the Mini. I don't know that I need constant tracking. I have a Garmin watch. If I wanted to do constant tracking, I could send constant tracking to the internet, that, you know, to the satellite that way. So at any rate, the Motorola is going to go with me this year on trips, and we'll see how it goes. Let's take a look at the weight. I think it's going to be a little bit lighter than my InReach Mini, which is like 2.5 or so. This is 2.3 ounces. The form factor is really small, so I'm looking forward to the smaller form factor to be able to put it someplace, tuck it someplace. So this should be awesome this year, and I'll let you know how it goes, and I'll do a review on it too. The last piece of gear I have is a pretty big piece of gear. I saw this pack come out at Outdoor Vitals, and I wanted it. It is a new pack that they just came out with, and I'm really digging it. They call it the CS40. It's got a carbon stay in it. It comes in at around, I want to say 25 to 27 ounces. Don't quote me on that. The website has it. This one doesn't have a hip belt on it because I ordered the wrong size hip belt. Had to upsize a little bit. Didn't realize how their sizing worked. And so I usually wear a medium hip belt or even a small at times. And so I'm going to need a large in this one. But the pack fits really nicely on me. I'm really digging it. The reason that I went after this pack, quite honestly, is again, I've got a couple of trips planned where I might run into more inclement weather than typically. And this fabric is waterproof fabric. The pack's not waterproof, obviously, because it's not seam sealed, but that would help. And then also, it just has I have another 42-liter pack. This is a 40-liter pack as well, but it has more internal storage than my other pack does, and I just wanted more internal storage and less pockets around the outside, and this does it for me. It's got, you know, ice axe loop, which I would need. It's got a big stretch mesh pocket. It came when I bought it with a water bottle holder, which I've come to love. Now I've been using a fast pack from Gossamer Gear, and I like it because it's got this padding here. I'm going to lose my ability to have a pull-out sit pad that I have in my other 40-liter pack from Gossamer Gear, but I'm looking forward to giving this thing a try, and I think it's going to do really well. I'll have a first look about this, but I wanted to show it to you here on this video quickly, and I will do a longer first look at the pack and talk more about the reasons I brought it into my kit and so forth. So those are the new pieces of gear that I'm bringing into my kit for 2024. If you're bringing anything new into your kit, let me know below. I'd love to hear about it. I'm always looking for new stuff, always. So backpackers, till next time, get out there, do some backpacking, do some hiking. Stop watching YouTube videos, unless they're mine. Then watch them all from start to finish. Later, backpackers.